the kids get to go with Nancy, and the saying today is, "You were made to shine," and that's in Matthew 5 and 16. So if everyone wants to say this with us, "You were made to shine." And the kids can go with Nancy. Jessica and Pearl. Oh, Eldon. There's a new guy today. Hi, Eldon.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
You're nice to be here.
Yeah.
He knew Gord. If you want to go in now, just go around there and follow. Or you can stay here. You don't have to leave. He's got his choice. He can go, he can stay. Now, can I get you to come up and read from the Science of Mind book? No? Please? Ah, come on.
I can't change my mind.
You read so good.
Good morning, everyone. Well, this little reading just seems to fit right in with what we've been talking about. So, more alike than different. We are all dependent on one another in ways big and small. A word, an act can reverberate in wide circles, touching others who don't expect it. We can't escape moving together and affecting whoever we encounter. And Leo Basaglia said that. The one who has a consciousness of joy will find joy. The one who sings will hear a song, and the one who turns from evil will find good. Ernest Holmes. We all need to feel and express love. Acts of kindness have the potential to heal. Holmes taught that we are one with spirit, which is the basis for all healing. Yet we find ways to create separation. We have all kinds of labels for one another, but the only labels that really matter are brother and sister because we come from the same source. Our differences are on the surface, and the truth is we are now one now and for all time. Rachel Remen writes about a cancer patient named Yitzhak who attended a retreat. He had difficulty with the touching and hugging that were part of the retreat. One day he takes a walk on the beach and talks to God. He asks God if it's okay to love strangers. And God responds, "Yitzhak, what is this, strangers? You make strangers. I don't make strangers." And as Teilhard de Chardin explains, we are one, after all, you and I. Together we suffer, together exist, and forever will recreate with each other. I grew up in New York City, and my wife grew up in Idaho. Last year we visited New York in the course of a week. We spoke with people from 26 countries. We spoke about raising children, food, baseball, and more. We took a cruise around Manhattan, and when the boat passed the Statue of Liberty, everyone rose and stood in silence, most with tears in their eyes. We are so much more one than different. And the affirmation is, in this moment, I am aware of my connection to everything. I am surrounded by love. My heart is full of and as I appreciate the oneness of God's creation, there's only love everywhere I look.
Wow. That was awesome. Thank you. That's good. That fit the.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was awesome. That fit the thing today good. So, now I get to do the good part, introduce our speaker today. She's going to talk about celebrate the sun. But there's two suns. Celebrate the sun and celebrate the sun. If that makes sense. So, I get to introduce Reverend Joanne Boruck.
Am I turned on? Nothing. I just couldn't resist. I know what he means when he says, I just like to look out and see everybody. Whoops. I guess that's not supposed to be there today. Good morning, beautiful light of the world. Thank you. I'm Reverend Joanne, faith, peace, and love. And it's more than a pleasure to be here. It's a blessing. It's an honor. I invite you to please join me in an opening affirmative prayer. Just allow yourself to be here in this moment by breathing deeply and slowly. Allow your body to release any tightness or tension. Start by taking a deep inhalation, and as you breathe, place all thoughts into your heart. And as you exhale with a sigh, visualize them just leaving your thoughts, leaving your heart. And let's do that one more time. Breathe in, bring everything in. And breathe out and let it all go. As I affirm and know, there is only one. Creative life, all-knowing, infinite presence, the light of the world we call Creator, Spirit, Buddha, God. How we relate to this powerful presence is individual and unique to each of us, and it is all divine. I speak these words for the collective consciousness who embrace the meaning and intention. I am a part of all. I am a piece of the quilt. I am integral, and its structure and purpose depend on my light. I have a purpose, and I wrap myself in the infinite presence to guide me in loving ways. I am a gift to the world. The bow is my smile. The wrap is my light. I share my gifts in ways that are meaningful to my life. My smile and my light go before me and bring peace and comfort to all I meet on life's path. Today is a beautiful day, and so am I. With loving thanks, I'm grateful for this season, for the reason, for the feeling and the meaning. For each person here this morning, and those who are not able to be here, I am eternally grateful. We celebrate the birth, the rebirth of each of us, and the love. I release this prayer into the all-knowing one. I allow it to return to me, multiplied and overflowing. And together we say, and so it is. Let's just take a moment and hold those in our thoughts that we're not able to be with at Christmas, whether they're a distance away, a lifetime away, a universe away. Thank you. The first thing I'd like to do is, those of you who weren't here on Friday, I'm going to light these candles. They're called the qualities of God. They're the fruits of the Spirit. And when we do affirmative prayer, we say, what's another word for God? And this is what people say. They say joy, love, light, life, peace, power, oneness. So that's universal through all religions. That is the power for the creative intelligence that created the universe. And I'd like to ask Susan Harvey to come up here. And Carmen to come up on the other side. Can you practice that? And if you can't reach the white one, Carmen, you just come right up here. Inside your package is a piece of paper called Each Candle Represents the Aspects of God. And before we light them, let's read what's on the bottom. Oh, can somebody bring Susan and Carmen one? So, Susan, you got to hold this, push this forward, and squeeze this trigger. Oh, okay. push that forward and then squeeze the trigger. You should be able to do it with one thumb. Okay. Yep. It's on the bottom. These spiritual energies are the quality of God. These spiritual aspects are the essential components of human life. These spiritual aspects are ours to embody as we are, life expressing itself, the light of the world, the love of spirit, the power of knowledge, the harmony of peace, the joy of being, the unity of oneness. We know that the Christ consciousness lives in each of us. We celebrate our source, we praise our spirit, and we live in each presence. So I invite Carmen and Susan to light the blue candle. And I want each of you to know that this blue candle represents the essence of joy. Could I have somebody shut the light off while we light the candles? I think Edith's got it, David. And as we look at that blue candle, bring to mind all those who have brought joy to your life. And now we move to the other side, to the red candle. It's way over here, and it is the love candle. Each of you are the spiritual essence of love. Bring to mind all those you love. Put them in a bubble and fill it with the light. And then we move to the gold candle, which is the color of light. Each of you are the essence of light in the world. I know you all know someone who brings light into your heart. Bring gratitude to them and light the gold candle. And now we move to the other side, to the green candle, which is the essence of life. That is who you are. You are the essence of life. If you have children, think of the life that they brought into your life. If you have siblings, think of them. Hold them in your consciousness. And the next candle is the silver candle, and it is so important. It's the candle of peace. Each of you are the essence of peace. If there's someone in your consciousness who you don't have peace with, bring them to mind and bring them peace. And then over to the purple candle. That candle's fighting with you, Susan. Carmen, can you light the purple candle on the other side too? Thank you. The purple candle is for power. All of us. Claim your power. Bring it back. Any that you've given away that didn't belong to you, any that you took on that didn't belong to you, release and embrace your own internal power. And the last candle is the oneness candle, the spirit candle that embraces every color, every component, every being on this planet. In love, we live in oneness. I can call Carm over. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
So let's just stand here. Thank you, Carmen and Susan. You can have a seat. And bring your arms out to the side. And as we start here, we go in joy. We raise up in love. We raise up a little more in light. And we raise up to the top in peace. And we turn our hands up. And we come down in life. Come down in power. Come down in oneness. Thank you. Can you turn the light on for me? I have to tell you, I wrote 3 whole talks for today, and then I read them and thought, oh, I like this and I like that, so let's see how it goes. I wanted to talk about what a beautiful fall we have had this year. It was the most amazing experience with light. There was a miraculous amount of northern lights this year. There was the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets. And now we enter into this celebration we call solstice. And in April, in the spring, we see those green shoots come through the cold and the snow. But this time, as the light comes, this is a time for reflection and growth. What do we want to grow? We're blessed with more light to help us get through those cold days. Isn't it ironic that the more light comes in the coldest weather? I think it's not a coincidence. I think Creator did that. Well, if I'm going to make it dark, I might as well make it cold. And then I'll make it light and I'll make it warm. I could have wrote a whole talk about that. But I had this epiphany I was telling Tress and Russ about. How magnificent the word S-O-N and S-U-N are so different and so similar. You know what? I'm going to just take a moment and ask somebody to move these candles out to the side. Because I can't see over there and I can't see over there. Thank you, Carmen. Maybe right over in front of the white candles. Thank you, Susan. See, you thought your job was done. Do you know, words and language are so incredible because that's all we have to express how our journey on earth is. And I don't believe there's any other word that sounds the same but has a similar meaning. So I decided that the word S-O-N and the word S-U-N are homogenized. And you know where I came up with that? I wondered, what is a word that sounds the same that's spelt different? That's called a homophone. And I was thinking about flower and flower. Well, those sound the same, but you can't make a piece of bread out of a daffodil. So they're very different. Then I was thinking about 2 words that have different meanings, but they're spelled similar. And those are called homonyms. And it means that they're spelled the same and pronounced the same, but have a different meaning. So it's neither of those, but the word homogenized means, as well as process and milk, it means to make uniform or similar. So from now on, when I think of the birth of the sun and the birth of the sun, I'm going to know that word is homogenized. I had a big laugh about it, and I was really happy Tress laughed with me. That's what we need. We need a homogenized society where we're all just one. I just love that I learned something new, and it helps me on my spiritual growth. So the first part I'm going to talk about is celebrating the sun, the S-O-N. You know, all faiths have a celebration in December. The indigenous focus more on solstice, and Christians focus more on the other sun, the S-O-N. And I have to tell you, I probably tell you every year at Christmas. That was when I first started coming here. And as I listened to Reverend Doug talk about the birth and what all that meant, the flock and the sheep, and how that was a metaphor for our life. And I thought, wow, when Jesus was born, that was a birth of love. And then Easter came along, and you know what happened. He was put on the cross, and he died. And the last thing he said was, "Forgive them; they know not what they do." So I decided Easter was the birth of forgiveness, and Christmas was the birth of love. You know, Jesus, we know, was a master teacher. He wasn't an exception. He was an example. So let's celebrate that. Because, you know, he only really taught to the people on the hill and in his sermons for 2 years. And here we are, 2024 years later, still using his example as a way to live. And I know a lot of people say Jesus Christ. Do you know Christ wasn't his last name? I don't know what it was, but you might think it's Yusuf, but it wasn't. Christ is a way of being. It's a title. Christ is a consciousness. It's a realization of your inner divinity. You know, Christ is a Greek word that means anointed. And it's relevant because in ancient Israel, only the most sacred people were anointed. And holy means blessed or sacred. So Christ is not just anointed with oil when he was anointed. They were recognizing his consciousness. And as we did baptism for everybody here, because the 3 people who were going to be here were not well. Carmen's car was sick, and Ursula and Floyd were sick, so we anointed everybody. And I think that's what a blessing is anointing your holiness and seeing it. In the Psalms it says, I said ye are gods. But it also says, the kingdom of heaven is within. And John said, he that believes in words shall do greater things than I do. So the kingdom is within, and that is truly something to celebrate. We are holy. So Christmas, it's a time for celebrating. It's a sad time. It's a time for remembering. It's a time for remembering all that you've manifested through the year. They call it the givingness of spirit. I think the darkness is our time to go within into that givingness where we create. I heard once that it's not a tomb, it's a womb. And that's where Jesus was. And Ernest Holmes says, Buffalo Jeans is having a sale. Ernest Holmes says, Christmas is for remembrance. The love manifested through our gifts to each other typifies the offering of life, the givingness of spirit to its creation. The hands of the eternal are outstretched through our hands and our hearts that are the infinite beat of the human breast. The giver must give of himself, for the gift without the giver is bare. It's not enough to give money to a great cause. Only those who understand giving of themselves is a true gift. Christmas is a time of giving. That's true. But not only material gifts. It's a time of giving of yourself. And now, that's enough of that. Let's celebrate this birth that we talk about. The Gospel of John. In the Bible it says so many things about light. The Gospel of John says, light has come into the world. Jesus even said himself, I have come into the world as a light, so that those who believe in me should not stay in the darkness. And the evidence is all around us. There's lights on the Christmas tree. There's lights in our houses. We lit these candles. Light dispels darkness. And it's appropriate that our celebration is filled with light. And that we talked about the Festival of Lights. There's been so many shows on lately about Hanukkah. Isn't it a miracle they have 8 crazy nights? I was thinking of Adam Sandler. He says they get presents 8 crazy nights. And how they put that oil in the lamp and it burned for 8 days. The Festival of Lights is celebrated through all cultures. And that is the homogenization of the S-O-N to the S-U-N. So now we're going to talk about the S-U-N, the other side of that. So we celebrate Christmas as the birth of the Christ awareness. The sun has a physical and a spiritual aspect. It has life and it has light. That's why we're referred to as the light of the world. Every Christmas is a new opportunity to bring spiritual truth of who we are. Give birth to more light. Perhaps it's symbolic of the wise men from the east, the place of the rising sun. The rising sun symbolizes our journey into the light. Do you know, Christmas, we don't know what day Jesus was born. Christmas is celebrated on the 25th of December, which is 3 days following the winter solstice. And the winter solstice has been central in spiritual celebration since ancient times. There was one year Carmen and I went to the lake and did the winter solstice with her dog, and we took candles, and it was so incredible. So the winter solstice, it's like the sun's being born again from the darkness, and it brings strength and beauty. And it's a message for us that we are born again of the light. The word solstice means sun standing still. So when we talk about solstice, even though it was the 24th, the 21st, it means it stood still, it paused, and then it rose again. So the solstice really is a 3-day celebration. Joseph Campbell says, the black moment is the moment when the real message of transformation is going to come. And we've all experienced that. The darkest moments in our life bring the light. You know, I think the winter solstice is one of my greatest celebrations. Before I even had this philosophy, when I was practicing other modalities, new thought modalities, we did so many celebrations of releasing, and now we do it every full moon and every new moon. It's not just once a year. There's lots of times to rebirth. In ancient Egypt, people celebrated the birth of Horus. In ancient Rome, it was the birth of the unconquered sun. It was called Yule in ancient Europe. Ancient Persia celebrated the birth of Mirtha. In ancient Mexico, they used a feathered serpent as a symbol of rebirth. You know, if we just paused in the middle of all the consumption and the buying as a way to celebrate, and just for an instant turn inwards, we find the greatest human mystery, the birth of light in the midst of darkness. And this moment is the moment where we celebrate the spiritual nature of life. And within each heart and soul, within each of us is a divine light, just waiting to be birthed, just waiting to be reborn. Rumi says that we're born out of darkness. And we really did come from darkness into the light. He says, sorrow for his sake is a treasure in my heart. My heart is light upon light, a beautiful Mary with Jesus in the womb. Rumi said that. Within the heart, within the soul of each of us, the divine child is waiting to be born, to come back to life in our consciousness. You know, there's so much mystery and darkness, and it belongs to each of us. If we could each see the darkness around everybody. We always talk about everybody has a struggle, you don't know what it is. If you could see the darkness around people and you could hand them a piece of your light, just take a little light out, a little orb, and open their hands and put it in there. So when they forget who they are, they can put that light inside. It's so beautiful, and I think we can eliminate suffering in the world. That's what Christmas is about. It's about the realization, the revelation, the reawakening of the Christ consciousness within each of us. The solstice is a time of quiet, of firelight, of dreaming, of seeds germinating. Even in our country, the rivers are still. They're frozen over. The land lies beneath a snow blanket. All around, the season seems to reach a standstill. The longest and darkest night is a time to give birth to ourself, once again, to the light within us. You know, this time of year is so important to all those on a conscious healing path, because that's where we intend to move to. We move more and more to the light and to the essence of our being. This is the day to celebrate life, your life, to consciously make a choice about your purpose, your path, your goodness, and stop hiding in the darkness. To honor the dark places is good, because we come from those places and then we're recreated. So I challenge you and invite you when you go home to celebrate your life. Light a candle. Speak lovingly to yourself. Whisper your new soul secrets into the light. Say to yourself, I have a special gift. Do you know what your gift is? Because I know what your gift is. So if you don't know, ask me. I'll tell you what your gift is. And if you see me, you could tell me what my gift is. We don't see who we are. I talked about the candle and how important it is and how the wax is just a vessel. If you can see through my wax and I can see through yours to our light, what a world we'll create. The world is waiting. It's waiting for you. The thing we can do to the world is we can give it opportunity. I think that's what light is. It's an opportunity to do what you're here to do, to give what you have to give. Sorry. The only time I don't have water. So that's what Christmas is all about. It's about the realization, the revelation, the reawakening, the recognition, the homogenization of yourself to your soul. You know, we sing this. We really are the hands of Creator on earth. We are the heart of Creator on earth. And the first gift you have to give is the one you give to yourself. And remember, the gift without the giver is bare. It's not enough to give money or even time. You have to give of yourself. You can give of your time and not even be present. You have to give of yourself. And as we leave here this morning, let's acknowledge the turning of the tide, that the light's getting stronger. A few minutes every day, and it's just how we can do it too. We can move into the light just a little more every day. Do you know when the light comes back, it comes back 2 minutes a day for a while, and then 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes. Wow, if we could only be that gentle with ourselves. We think we have to come back at 35 minutes a day. I can give 2% more light to the world today. Tomorrow I can give 5. Maybe I can give 15. What we need to do is open ourselves and become the best possible person that we are. And that's all I want for you. I want you to see your light. I want you to see your infinite possibilities. I want you to recognize that this birth is symbolic of the opportunity and the possibilities in each of us. That Jesus was a teacher. That Christ is a way of living. It's a consciousness. And that you are a gift to the world. Please join me in a closing affirmative prayer treatment as I acknowledge, there is only one light in the world. It's consciousness. It's our intelligence, the divine wisdom, the power for good greater than we are, and we can use it. This power and purpose, this light is within each of us, and we can nurture it and share it. This week I allow myself to experience all of the season, the beauty, the laughter, the disappointments, the sad moments. I embrace it all because it means I am whole now. I am experiencing life to the fullest, and I choose to step through anything that casts a shadow on my life. I turn it on and I turn it up. I embrace and acknowledge the sun, the consciousness of love. I embrace and acknowledge the sun, the return of the light, the solstice. And I am so very grateful that the sun does rise every morning on the earth and in my heart. I'm grateful for each person here, for the ability to come here and share with like-minded people, for this building, for this teaching, for the board, for the ministers. I say thank you. And I let my word go into the all-knowing universal consciousness where it is done, multiplied and overflowing and returned to me in light. And I say thank you. I am Reverend Joanne. Peace and love, Boruck. And I wish you a blessed New Year and a beautiful Christmas. Thank you for being my gift. And so it is. And now